Introducing Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Icon of the Seas, the ultimate family vacation. The ultimate 6 slides, 8 neighborhoods, 0 compromise vacation. The ultimate never done that, can't wait to do it vacation. The ultimate chillin' by a different pool every day of the week vacation. This is the Icon of vacations. Icon of the Seas, arriving in 2024. Book today. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Hello and welcome to the next edition of Miss the Point. I am Rashawn Buchanan with my guys, the basketball crew, the real BK Bob Kelly and DK Sizzle. Fellas, how we doing tonight? We should be pumped up, right?
Woo! Bro, I wish we were doing this yesterday. Unbelievable. You know, we'll get into it, but honestly, one of the best Celtics playoff games I can remember, just with the ending, how it all went, the script of everything, Kyrie playing a fucking supervillain, like legitimate supervillain on the fucking basketball court. It was unbelievable, man. One of the best basketball games I can ever remember.
It was awesome, dude. I feel like I was watching with my buddy and we kind of had this narrative, which I think like everybody had probably going in. And it was like, I really hope we blow them out, because I think if we hit like a close game, I don't really fancy our chances. Like, yeah, like lately we've been better at that. Like the defense looks good, but Kyrie and KD, like, you know, if it comes down to one guy needs to hit a shot to win the game, which it did, you know, even in my heart of hearts, I love our guys, but I'm thinking I'm pretty scared of Kevin Durant still. So I wanted us to blow him out. And I thought we were kind of screwed going into those last 2 minutes, because it looked like the momentum was 100% with Brooklyn. But yeah, what a finish, dude. What a finish. And like all this stuff with Kyrie and like everything that was going down the way it was. And it kind of looked like he was in our heads a little bit, at least as a fan base. But obviously the way it ends up, it doesn't come out like that. But I just enjoyed it so thoroughly. I think I was really worried, if we're going in chronological order, I was really worried at the start when we looked like we were playing the best defense we were playing all year. And that's saying something, because we've been playing some really fucking good defense this year. And we were just like hand checking and like stealing the ball. And like if you've never seen Kevin Durant play before that, like first 5 minutes, you'd be like, that guy's not that good. And like we had him completely quiet, but we weren't really capitalizing on it. Like all of a sudden you look down, it's like, we're only up by 4, we're only up by 2. And it's like, we weren't really converting like that, those big hustle defensive plays. And like that got me worried. So I was just anxious. I was anxious from the start, and it was a big relief, big blow up relief at the very end.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we'll get that. We'll get into that. We'll do a deep dive into that. Before we get into that, though, even though we gave you a quick little preview, gave a little tease, big market tease as we call it, there was some hardware given out today. Marcus Smart, point guard out of Oklahoma State, six overall pick in 2014. Finally, the first guard since Gary Payton to win the award of Defensive Player of the Year. So, you know, DK, I'll start with you, but just how excited were you to see him get that award, and just how has his defense impacted, you know, how the team plays overall?
I was pretty excited. I feel like, and this is for another show. Tune in to the rewrap where we talk extensively about this. But the last time a Celtic, in my memory, won Defensive Player of the Year, it was our boy Kevin Garnett in 2008 in his first year with the Celtics. I think that Boston is a defense-first organization. It's a defense-first culture. It's a place you don't want to come and play. And I think we build our attitudes and our mindset from our D. I think that all the best Boston teams I've ever watched in my lifetime, with I guess maybe the exclusion of the Pierce Walker three-point guru crazy run, but I mean, they were decent at defense too, but you know, I think all of our best teams, every time that there's shades of, you know, to use Bobby's term, championship DNA, I think it's built from a defensive point of view. I think that we're all on record with our frustrations with Marcus specifically, but I think he's really bought into the system this year. I think he was integral, and you know, we had on our last show that it feels like yesterday. We had Mr. Weiss from The Athletic talking to us about, you know, him bashing the Jays in the media, and then Ime coming right over the top again and getting them kind of where they needed to be. I think it is defensive. I think he deserves the award, but I also think the thing that Marcus brings to the table, and you know, this is no surprise to anybody that watches this team, the thing that Marcus brings to the table is definitely that work rate, that heart, that hustle, those intangibles that make you just love watching Marcus Smart play. And I think now that he's sort of dialed his game in a little bit, he takes and he had the game of his life, by the way, in game one. I mean, he played out of his absolute skin. And it was the way that you love to see Marcus Smart play. It's good shot selection. It's great defense. It's anybody that he gets one-on-one, you're okay with it. Doesn't matter if it's Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving or whoever their guy is. If Marcus is on him, he'll be like, I'll take him. He'll make those plays. I think well-deserved. I think there's a lot of great defenders in the NBA, but I think well-deserved from Marcus and, shades of KG, man. I love it. I'm super excited. It's one of my favorite awards for a Celtic to win, if not my favorite, other than Finals MVP.
I like it. Yeah, no, I think when it comes to Marcus, what really made this year happen, I think, because you could have made the argument for Marcus in the past. I feel like there was always the offensive game kind of outweighed that defense where it almost broke out even. But this year you see a different Marcus on the floor where he's a playmaker now. He's the guy that passes up that shot to make that ridiculous pass to Tatum at the end of the game. He's just a different player than he was before, but still that same defensive guy, if not better than he ever has been, man. He's the heart and soul of this team. You saw it when he won the award, which was dope, bring Gary Payton out to present it to him. You can just tell that this team revolves around Marcus. And you're completely right, DK, when you said about the criticism he used to take and everything that came with Marcus with this defensive ability. And it's something the Celtics fans have been on his back for a very, very long time. And I just feel like it's just it validates everything that he's done in a Celtics uniform, getting this award and just putting all of that behind him and just being legitimately the best defensive player in the NBA. And that's such a cool thing to say about someone on the Celtics, especially about Marcus. With all the years we've been through with him, bro, he's the only one. He was here through the original Marcus Banks era where we lost 55 games. He was here through the Isaiah Thomas era, Evan Turner, Kelly Olynyk, Kyrie Irving, every era.
And a lot of people had a problem with his draft too. When we picked him up a lot. I was okay. So I've said a lot of stupid shit about the Celtics over the years, but at least I'm not on record. At least I'm not on record hating Marcus when we drafted him. I'm on record getting frustrated with him. But I think it's a unique thing in basketball. It's something that we saw in the 74 win Golden State Warriors. Your best player doesn't necessarily need to be the emotional leader on your team. And I think I wouldn't say that Marcus is our most talented player, but I would say that he is the sort of the spiritual and emotional leader in the locker room. Part of it is, he's officially a veteran now. And part of it is, I think it's pretty clear that the guys respect him. And I think that he plays the way he talks. He walks the way he talks, I guess. He backs himself and he does the stuff that he wouldn't ask somebody on the team to do something that he wouldn't do. And I think, we saw, like I said, we saw it on the Golden State team where Draymond Green, love him or hate him, he was the emotional leader on that team, if not necessarily the points leader or the, whatever. It's okay to have that in basketball, especially if you have, some good chemistry elsewhere. So I'm really happy to have him for that reason. And I think if you don't see that when you watch the games and you're just looking at, his stat line, admittedly, his stat line was great in game one, but if you're just looking at a stat line and you're not looking at that, then you're not watching the game the right way, Ray, what about you? Where do you really overall stand with Marcus Smart? Where is it? I've seen you get frustrated with him, but we all have. What's your overall, now that he got this, like you said, piece of hardware, where are you at with him?
So, listen, first I want to say, congrats to him, Ray. It was awesome to see him win that. I was someone that was not happy drafting that. I wasn't. I was a huge Rajon Rondo guy. And, Rondo was the last guy out of the big three, the big four really to stay. And I kind of wanted to see what he could do being on the Brad Stevens at the time. So I was like, wait a minute, you're going to get rid of Rondo, who, wasn't a great shooter for another guy who was also not a great shooter. So I was already pissed off.
The idea of building a team around Rondo for the first time.
Right, exactly, right.
Giving him the opportunity to feed assists to real legitimate shooters is what I think we all kind of thought was going to happen. I can understand that.
Right, exactly. So I was just like, this doesn't make sense. Why would you get another point guard that's, that can't do what Rondo, or if he does do what Rondo does, not at the same level. But needless to say, some years go by. The only other year I thought that he would actually have a chance to win it was actually the 2018-2019 year, right? If you remember, obviously that season ended in turmoil.
That was the Harden charge year, right? Where he got that charge
Yes. Yeah.
Harden melted down in that game at the end. Yeah, it was awesome.
I feel like that it's so funny you bring that up, Ray, because I feel like that's where the rest of the league started to notice, right? Am I right? Right.
No, I mean, I would hope so. I also think that because he was still coming off the bench behind Kyrie, obviously, because it was Kyrie, then it was Rozier. They were kind of interchangeable at that moment from the bench. But I think that, when they put him in that starting lineup, they were like 10-10, I think, at the start of that year. And then he comes in and they go on an 8-game winning streak immediately. And it's because of his defense, because of his hustle, and just really his play is infectious. Good or bad.
Do you see him as a one though? Do you see him as a one? Because I feel like he does his best work.
He's under Emmy. He is, man.
Sure. I feel like he plays his best basketball, and I don't think this is news to anybody, but I think he plays his best basketball off the ball. And I feel like there is something slow about how he brings the ball up the court. And I know in today's NBA, who brings the ball up the court is like a little less important than it used to be. When you were like, you mentioned Rajon Rondo, like when he would walk the ball up the court, he was quarterback and he was running, he was playmaking, he was calling plays, he was telling guys where to be, and he was like making deadly passes. And I know that we get the ball out of the guy's hands a little bit quicker on this Celtics team, but I still do have some issues with him offensively as far as like kind of playmaking from the start of the shot clock goes. Does anyone relate to me on that? Or am I just like a relic of the past? Yeah, has he developed his game?
I think there's some truth to that. I mean, I think that he's worked really hard on not being the guy that you're speaking about, honestly. And it was a hard habit to break, right? And that's what, we may had to come in. He had to break, Smart's bad habits. He had to break Tatum's bad habits.
Tatum still stands up too fucking straight when he dribbles, but sure.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, but no, he's finally become the playmaker that I think they envisioned when they drafted him in 2014. Once again, I wanted the guy that went right behind him, Julius Randle.
I still like Julius Randle.
Yeah. I mean, I know New York fans want him out of there, but that's another day. But he's wild.
In the chat today, the other chat, someone already started making that what if comparison. Less than 24 hours after this dude just won Defensive Player of the Year. Like, listen, guys, listen. Can we give Marcus Smart 24 fucking hours before we start playing the what if game with this draft, please?
I mean, if you go back, give him
one day.
Obviously, Embiid is the guy in that draft. Obviously, he went 3 when he should have.
You can do that about every draft.
Yeah, you do every draft, right? Obviously, but
I think Marcus might be 2 now, man. Is there anyone else in that draft that legitimately can be called the best at something in the NBA? Because Marcus Smart, factually, is the best defensive player in the NBA.
Well, Embiid's the best big man in the NBA.
Well, besides Embiid.
Embiid. Okay, copy. Yeah.
I mean, Wiggins. I know Wiggins won that year. Jabari Parker went 2, but obviously,
Wiggins had red flags, bro. Like, it's like.
But he gets, it's funny, and obviously, I don't want to turn this to Andrew Wiggins thing, but he's a guy that gets 8. He's a guy that gets 8. He gets 18 a night, and we call that a bust. And I'm going to pick up, yo.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like, it's so easy to redraft all these years, like I'm happy to still brag about getting Jayson Tatum 3rd overall and having like Markelle Fultz and fucking,
It's an all thing.
We got another first. We got another first round pick.
But I think there really is something to say. There is something to be said about the guys who actually did have red flags at the time, like Markelle Fultz. Like, it was like that guy had red flags at the time. Like, it was like, yes, I understand that his upside was actually pretty high, but they started changing his shot right when he got into the league. Like, that's just not going to work, First
time you saw. All right, never. Let's not.
But back to Marcus.
Markelle Fultz show.
To pull it back, this is my overall point. To pull it back to Marcus. I think there is something to be said for drafting a guy where you kind of know where you're going to get. You know what I mean? And I think that I think there's definitely something to be said for. And it's a cliche in basketball. And forgive me for sounding like Jeff Van Gundy, who is tried and true, my mortal fucking enemy. Everything that comes out of his mouth is the stupidest shit I've ever heard anyone say about basketball most of the time. But because I don't mind Mark Jackson, a lot of people rag on Mark Jackson. I'm like, it's because he's
with all due respect.
Yeah, oh totally. But it's because he's adjacent to this chuckle fuck that's like sitting next to him and just saying saying the stupidest fucking shit. And it's like, I get it, man. I talk into a microphone all the time, and sometimes you got to just fill the airtime and you want to just argue with someone and create controversy. But man, I really feel like he stands by some of that shit. But to create a cliche, to name a cliche, a lot of guys will come into the NBA and they'll realize that their passing, their shooting, their speed, their IQ are things they need to work on. So the smartest thing you can do is build your game around defense because nobody's playing defense. So if you're a rookie and you know you can do it, you got the footwork and you've been playing defense all through college because they make you play defense there, that's a good way to make a mark on the league. And I think Marcus Smart's the best example of that. I think he built his game from defense, and now he's on a team that needs him to really do that. And he's able to develop the other parts of his game from that. And also on every one of my teams, I need someone who's going to get in somebody's face if some shit goes down. You know what I mean? Or like say shit to the refs when need be. But if in all of sports, there's a way to bully teams off the court or the field or the pitch or whatever you're playing on. And I need at least one dude that's going to go like, no, don't talk shit to my guy like that. You remember that bad foul on, I want to say it was, who got fouled really bad right underneath the basket and Smart came like running. It was like last year's playoffs. And Smart came sprinting from the other side of the court to get in the dude's face. And it was like, yes.
Oh, no, it was a few years ago at Conference Finals against Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, time is blending because of COVID.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it blends together because they lost. And, we're all.
They lost the exact same way three years in a row.
No, I think someone that pushed Marcus Morris or whoever it was, and then,
yeah.
And Jared Smith pushed him, and then Marcus Morris was like, "Yo, what's up?"
That guy.
So,
that guy. For me, if it's up to me, which it isn't, but if it is, that guy has a spot on my team for life. You know what I mean? You need that dude, especially on a team where you got young guys with the demeanor of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown and guys that are not non-confrontational in a lot of ways. And I just think he's so important, like, for that reason.
Last thing on Marcus, I'm going to ask you, I'll ask both of you. Do you think that the Marcus calling out Jayson and Jaylen, right, mid-season, being like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
He was just saying what we were all thinking, dude.
Yeah, exactly. He was.
Sorry.
I think that was an Emmy and Marcus meeting. Yeah, I'm just going to put that out there.
You think it was like 3D chess?
Bro, didn't Emmy come out a couple days later?
He came out and backed him. Yeah.
I mean, what do you, is he lying, guys? Is he lying?
Yeah, and they did ask to get Coach Hard. You know what I mean? They asked for it. That's what they wanted. And
obviously it worked.
I also at the same time sort of understand their perspective on certain things. Like, the Jays get some shit for like how they were in the last era of Brad and like, from me too. But if you're Jayson Tatum and you're going into work and you're looking at fucking little Brad Stevens trying to tell you shit, like I would probably respect email a little bit more too. You know what I mean? Like, played the fucking game. He won fucking championships playing the game. He came out of a fucking coaching tree, which I still think that phrase is just evokes the stupidest imagery. It's like a children's book, but he came out of a coaching tree that's like, proven. And he looks the part. I don't know. I just I get it on a certain example. I think you should respect the coach, and I think it sucks that Brad lost the locker room. But I mean, I get it.
I mean, we better hope he maybe becomes Pop or similar to him.
I don't even need him to become Pop.
No, I'm saying, but at least Pop light. Because if that's the case, then
yeah,
we're gonna get a few here in the next few years. So I'll take it. And I mean, I would love for Marcus Smart to be a version of Tony Parker. And the reason why I bring that up, because you said about you think there was a meeting with Ime and Marcus. Steven Jackson, who, he played in San Antonio, does show called All the Smoke. He talked about, he was like, yo, Tony Parker was a mouthpiece. If Pop couldn't say something to a player, Tony Parker was saying something to somebody. And once again, you think they're quite unassuming Frenchmen, but Tony Parker would get in people's face. So maybe that's
you need that guy.
Yeah, you do it. Maybe that's what he may sees in Mark.
I mean, nobody's going to do it as well as Kevin Garnett, but Kevin Garnett was also our best player. So.
For sure, but I think we were still hungry for that. I mean, once again, this team has taken their own identity, and it really made it a thing. And obviously, Marcus Smart's a big part of that. So let's move on though. So obviously, like we know, the Celtics won 115, 104. I mean, 104. I wish it was 104. Maybe I'm saying it for me too.
114.
But yeah, 115, 114. Obviously, off a phenomenal final play. So just DK, I'll start with you, man. But just watching it live, bro. Like, did you think that shot was good at the end?
Yeah, I knew it was good. I just couldn't. It was the longest 4 seconds and the shortest 4 seconds of my entire life. I was sitting there watching this, right? And Jaylen drove to the hoop, and you're like, oh, he's putting it up. There's only 4 seconds left. He's gonna do like either a fadeaway, something's gonna happen.
This time last year, he would have. by the way.
100%. So
Yeah.
that's the first guy this time last year that would have shot the shot. Then all of a sudden you see Marcus open, right? And Marcus catches the ball. And Ray, I think you sent me this view of the shot. As soon as Marcus catches it, I swear on my fucking life, you hear like 6 people behind him just scream, "No!" He pump fakes.
I was
and I couldn't believe the time didn't run out on the pat. Like, I was literally sitting there like, they're gonna run out of time. I think I said it like 6 times, at least 6 times.
This time last year they would have.
We're gonna run out of time. We're gonna run out of time. They didn't run out of fucking time. Tatum with the fucking win. I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't. It was one of those where you could tell the crowd was in shock too, where like they didn't believe what just happened. That's where I was.
Were you like holy shit? Did we make it? Like, did the clock run out? Because like you couldn't even really watch both at the same time. So you're like, did we get it in time? Because like then it cut to the ref, and the ref was like pointing and like doing shit, and I was like, is it what happened? Ah.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Ray, listen, I don't care about any of our perspectives, because there's one person's perspective that I want to hear, and that's the person that was in the fucking Garden, man. In the fucking Garden that night, and that's you. You work there now. I know you couldn't hear most of the game, bro, but
I don't know. I was there. I mean, I was watching it by the time that happened. Obviously,
I heard it was the loudest the Garden's ever been, which is saying something.
Yeah, because you couldn't even hear. I mean, obviously you see obviously they have the red square that goes off, but you couldn't even hear Eddie Palladino, who's the PA announcer. Like, you couldn't even hear him say Jayson Tatum. Like, you couldn't hear him saying, like, that's how loud that crowd was screaming. And like, we're on the balcony, and I mean, I can say this because it's not like many coworkers listen to the show, but that's going to change soon. But they we were all jumping around. Like, it was a frenzy. I forgot that I was security at that moment. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, yo, did he really just make this like that? Because what I thought was gonna happen too. See, Tatum catches it, but in real time, we didn't see Derek White was in the corner. I thought they were looking to pass as Derek White. He was gonna get open 3, make or miss, whatever. You live with the results. But thank God for a 6'9", 6'10" wing that had his arms out with big hands.
What a snag, bro. What a snag.
And they gets the acrobatic layup. But I gotta say too, Kevin Durant, what was you thinking, bro? Because my thing is, you're forever exposed on that play. Like, dude, he literally was like he was stuck in mud.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, that type of cut, which is very similar to what we used to see in San Antonio with Ginobili and some other guys, like that does not happen last year, as we just alluded to. He's not cutting to the basket. He's gonna be waving his hand, saying, "Yo, like, I'm open," which he did at first. And he said afterwards, me and Smart made eye contact. Smart made the pass. Ball game. I haven't said that in a while, but it's back. It's deserving. It's fitting.
Well, you always used to say it in the opposite meaning.
Yeah, no.
The other way, yeah.
Right, exactly.
Ray was calling ball game on this Celtics team in like the third quarter. He's like, ball game, bro. This shit's over.
Suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, 80% of the time I was correct.
That's just because it was fucking miserable to watch that team, though.
Oh yeah, ridiculous. But I mean, it's just that. Yeah, it was awesome to be there. Like, I mean, I'll be there again, for game 2 and any other games that are there, going forward.
Wait, I gotta know though. Everyone says it was the loudest they've ever heard it. Listen, I've been to a Celtics playoff games. I don't know. I know, Ray. I know you have. DK, have you been to one before?
I was at Game 6 when we sent the Cavs home when LeBron ripped his jersey off.
Okay, so
in 2010, wow,
which was like the loudest place I've ever been in my entire life.
I've ever heard. Right, that's what I mean. Like, when I hear that this was the loudest people had ever heard, I can't imagine louder than that Wizards game, because me and my buddy were sitting.
Yeah, I was there too.
Was it the IT John Wall war? You were at that?
Yeah, we're in Olynyk, but Olynyk took game over game 7.
Yeah. Because game 6, John Wall jumps on the announcer's table. And
right,
everybody that knows anything about anything goes like, dude, winners don't celebrate game 6, bro. Yeah, you're a fucking idiot.
Except for Pat Bev. But anyway, so to think that it was louder than that, or the Hawks series the year before. Those 2 times were the loudest I've ever heard anything in my life. Like, you can't hear the person next to you. Was it louder than those? Was it like, could you notice a difference?
I mean, listen, I was at that same game 7 that she's talking about with Kelly Olynyk with Nuggets. Like, it was close to that, or maybe it was just, I think maybe because people really wanted to see us beat this team, meaning Brooklyn. Like, Washington, it was a cute little rivalry, okay, obviously that's something that happened with Isaiah Thomas' sister that year. He goes for 50. I think game 2 that year was probably louder than what we even saw in game 7, honestly, because IT was just going bananas on Washington. But I mean, let's just say, listen, if we're arguing about, not arguing, but we're debating what crowd was louder, listen, that means that moments keep happening. So let's keep them going. We need those moments to happen. That crowd was on go from the beginning. Once again, we get there too. I was like, as soon as we got there for the search, let's go Celtics.
That's the best when you're walking up and you hear it.
Yeah, going ham. I'm like, listen, I had chills. Like, getting into the middle, some of us had to calm down. Like, we was already like hyped, but you would have thought that we were actually playing the game. Like, literally, it was wild. So I can't wait for Wednesday. Like, I'm gonna lose. Lose my mind.
There's an air of when your team has something about them, when they don't. I feel like deep down you sort of know it. I feel like as a fan base and a culture, I feel like deep down you sort of know it. 100%. And I think we sort of alluded to this just now when we were talking about Ray calling a rap on the Celtics in the bubble when we first started this fucking podcast, and it was like, Ray, don't call rap on the fucking Celtics in the third quarter, but. So, if you watch your team enough and you're a loyal enough fan, you kind of know or you don't. And I feel like I was a little skeptical still, even though we finished the season strong. And I felt really good after the last show we did talking to Jared Weiss about, where this team is at. And he's so close to it. You take his word for it. But I was still like, going into the game, your nerves go a little bit because you really want the team to win. And I think the point you guys made was kind of reverberating in my head, which is this kind of the theme of the passing of the torch. Like, is Jayson Tatum getting to a Kevin Durant level as a scorer? Like, who would you take as a twosome or a tandem? Like, these kind of questions we were asking each other going into game 1. And that narrative was sort of bouncing around in my head as Jayson Tatum laid that finger roll in. And we won the game. And it's like, well, momentum swings in a playoff series on plays like that. And to have it happen in game 1, now you're thinking, I went from thinking, because of the way that the Nets played, I went from thinking, oh, okay, we're definitely going to win in 6 to this is going to 7 and it's anybody's. Like that, the way the Nets came out, it made me think that. However, what do the Nets look like tomorrow? What do the Nets look like in game 2, I should say? Because that is a demoralizing way to win a game of basketball when your best players are playing that well. When your guy who used to play here comes back in a hostile environment and drops 39 points on his old team. When he's fucking doing the crybaby to guys in the crowd, and he's like, and after the guy talks shit to him, then he blows by somebody. When he butchered, let's be honest, we're gonna forget about this. When he butchered Jayson Tatum 3 times in a row in the fourth quarter to head to 18. Points in the fourth, or however many he had in the fourth. I think it was 18.
Yeah.
He butchered Jayson Tatum 3 times. They had to switch Tatum off of him, which again, we're talking about this time last year, they would have fucking kept Jayson Tatum on him and he would have continued to get butchered, but they switched Marcus onto Kyrie, which is very, very smart. But these kind of things that they can demoralize a team, especially a team like Brooklyn, especially a team that's constituted of, let's be honest, some fragility, So what are you thinking? What do you think? How are they going to come out?
Well, I told my section because my section upstairs was going crazy on Kyrie, and he's had shot to shot. I said, "Hey, this is not."
He's a bad man, dude. You got to be careful, bro.
This is not one of those nights. Like he's locked in. He's got it tonight, y'all.
You're just making it worse.
Yeah, y'all can say whatever y'all want. Oh, it's like, yeah, man, fuck Kyrie. I'm like, look, man. I said when he's on like this, I said I think we only seen it once in the playoffs in Boston. Because obviously he was hurt the first run that he played.
I've seen him do this a number of times. Maybe not necessarily in Boston, but I've seen him do that.
Not even that game. It was game 2 against Indiana. He had 37 that night. And I was like, oh, okay, this is the guy that we brought here to do, set things. So when he's on like that, and you could tell because when he started making those little layups and the little floaters, it was like, oh, like he's locked in. And I'm like that little 1-2 dribble, that sidestep that he probably taught Tatum. Now Tatum has mastered it. That sidestep 3 that he has to a 6'3", you can't do nothing with it, man. Like, and I'm telling people like, yo, like this is not that night. Like we're lucky that Kevin Durant was not feeling it, like because he was off, and I guess that happens when you have to guard a guy of this Tatum's caliber, which is why he told Bruce Brown and others to kind of just relax, bro. Like this man is a problem. Like we need to recognize him as as a problem. But before we kind of get into what it may look like for game 2, we kind of danced around it, but I want to go a little deeper into it. But the composure they showed on that final play, to go from Smart to Brown, like just Smart to Brown, then obviously to Tatum, DK, like just how refreshing was that as a fan to go through what we've been through in recent memory, to just see that unfold and for them not to lose their composure in those waning moments.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that it's like Marcus Smart's been playing 3D chess all these years. It's like he takes dumb shots in those situations, takes some shots, and then finally when it really counts, the 2 Nets players that slid to
the ultimate long con, bro. The ultimate long con.
The two Nets players that switched to him are both like, Marcus Smart's about to shoot. They're both like, he's about to shoot.
Bro, I thought Claxton tore his ACL.
Oh my God. And they went up on that defense. Cause like, I mean, that's what you do if you think a guy's going to shoot in the last few seconds, right? You can't be caught sitting out, flat footed, but it wasn't very good. Like, so maybe one guy goes up and one guy backs off to play a little defense, but to split the 2 of them like that, to find his man, and then to have Tatum, be so aware, and this was, I thought, so impressive. Be so aware of the clock, because we've seen what that does in the negative in basketball, and the elite players have that countdown in their head. Mm-hmm. I cite the very famous J.R. Smith, not understanding how much time is left, getting the rebound and not just putting it back, but running in the opposite direction like a broken fucking NBA 2K player. I cite that, and LeBron being like, how do you, and then like, those moments where LeBron after the game would be like, yeah, and then we dumped it down and there was a back cut and there was 14 seconds left on the clock and he can like recite the whole thing. The Tatum post-game interview, he was like, there was 12 seconds left when we went in, this happened, then this happened. I'm like, yes, it's happening. Like, yes, he's reading the matrix code of the game. It just looks like those falling green code,
100%, bro.
Like to
100%.
him, and everything is slowed down, and he knows exactly how much time he has, and he recognizes a few things. He recognizes that KD is not gone with his man, which Ray pointed out, which was absolutely unforgivable. If that's your player,
he's ball watching, bro.
Yeah, if that's one of your, I get why it happened. I do get why it happened. It shouldn't be happening to Kevin Durant, and it shouldn't be happening in the playoffs period. But I do get why it happened. I think because Marcus split those defenders so hard, I think he got caught in 2 minds, and he was like, do I go to Marcus? Does Kyrie have the runner
on here? Marcus though over Tatum?
I think he saw Kyrie not go to Marcus, and he went, shit.
I feel like that everyone had was KD and also Irving thought Marcus was shooting that fucking ball too, man. Everyone in the world thought Marcus was shooting.
Kyrie should have slid to Marcus right away and stopped his dribble, or at least tried to stop the pass. He should have slid to him right away, but he's standing there. Like, you give KD shit for being stuck in the mud. Kyrie would look like a fucking traffic cone out there when Tatum went by him. You know what I mean? He was completely flat-footed. He was in no man's land.
Well, I think with Kyrie now stepping up, if Kyrie steps up, what happens is now Smart gets Tatum over the top. It's a layup regardless.
Sure.
Now that was an easy. That was, you know what I'm saying? So that
it's a double fuck up. Yeah.
But it's like it all stems from the fact that like the guy, like they're not going with their players, right? So it's like whatever the chain reaction is and however it starts, it's like your 2 superstars got burned by our fucking guy, which I love, right? But it's that clock management, it's that awareness, and it's like I want to give Tatum more credit than I give KD more criticism, because I think, like you said, San Antonio, like that's a tough cut to defend. It was a great move. It was an amazing move by Marcus, and like everybody was aware of the clock. And like, yes, it's very encouraging, because it's like those are the kind of mistakes, and That's the exact kind of situation where we would have done something stupid last year and the year before and the year before that. That's the exact situation where somebody jacks up a dumb fucking shot, lets the fucking clock run out, makes one extra pass when they shouldn't. That we've seen this a million times, and I was convinced something like that was going to happen, and it didn't, and that's very reassuring.
So I'm going to back it up even further than that. Not just the composure we had on the final play, but the composure we had in the last 2 minutes was unlike anything I've seen out of the Celtics team in a very long time. You look Kyrie hit one of the best fucking threes in Smart's face that I've ever seen. I've never seen a fadeaway three like Kyrie hit.
And super quiet,
bro.
I don't know if y'all can hear it on TV. That crowd, now you can hear a pin drop in that building.
Yeah,
that's in every other game against any other team. That is a dagger. That is it. You know what I mean? That's it. But not against this team. Listen, then Jalen just goes down, has the wherewithal to get the easy layup. Then one of the best defensive possessions, bro.
No, that was a foul though. I'm glad they didn't call it though.
100% it was. 100%.
You gotta let him play. You gotta let him play in the playoffs, though, right? You gotta let him
if that was against us, we would have been pissed. But
facts.
the wherewithal to know Kyrie. Listen, Horford knew it. Smart knew it. Kyrie was going for that bucket on that. He was going for another dagger, and Smart didn't let him get it. Horford comes out, gets the double team. Listen, we'll get into Horford too because we got to talk about him before this is over. He comes out with the double team and forces the ball to Durant. Bro, the defense Tatum played on Durant on that final possession, I haven't seen Durant get denied so many times trying to get around someone, maybe ever, man. And it wasn't even like he had a chance. Like Tatum was just like, nope, not fucking going that way. Nope, not fucking going that way. Jacks up the three. And I love Emmy having faith in this team, knowing that they have that composure, knowing that they're going to do the right thing on that final play and not calling the fucking timeout, letting it run. And it was amazing, bro. Just that last 2 minutes just really summed up what this Celtics team is. And it goes back to what DK said, man. When you know your team has something, you just know. Like we saw with the Sox last year. We saw it with the Sox when they won an 18, when they won, you know what I mean? When you watch a team, there's just something about them when you're like, man, what's going on here, man? Like something special is brewing. And I'm just saying that whole composure at the end was unlike anything I've seen the Celtics team have in so long.
Totally agree, man. I think it's funny. I actually talked to somebody.
Composure is the word.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It is 100%. It's the word.
Yeah, big time. No, but I talked to someone in the building on Sunday about, comparing this team to what the 2018 Red Sox team was. So remember, that Red Sox team had ran through everybody. Obviously, that's basically what the Celtics did the second half of the year, ran through everybody. Then, ironically, they faced a team from New York, right? And everyone was like, oh my God, this team also won 100 games, Judge, all these guys, like, the history, whatever. They beat it before. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, then you face the defending champions, which we could too. In the next round, they beat them in 5. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's to me the setup, the narrative, if you want to call it, is there. Now that they have to go on to execute. And once again, they're at all time high right now. But as fans, we can believe that hype, but they can't, because once again, those two guys on there, like I said, in Brooklyn, can give you 40 apiece any given time. So you have to stay ready. So you have to get ready, so to speak. And also too, I want to bring this up because we talked about this with Jared White. I think we talked about this afterwards as well. You saw that Andre Drummond didn't do much. Bruce Brown didn't do much. I'm telling y'all, if you hold those two guys, Steph Curry was basically non-existent as well. If you just let Irving and Curry, if you let Irving and Durant do their thing, cool. Once again, I mean, it's hard because obviously you don't want to see them drop 40, but if they say they both got 40 and the rest of the guys combine for 15 points, but that's 95. You can still win 96, 95. You can win 102, 95. Like, you don't have to overreact to great players going crazy. And I think that's what happened on Sunday. Didn't overreact. Obviously, Tatum getting 31 helps.
The way the momentum swung, I feel like it's very easy to react like that. The way that the narrative started to, because I fucking overreacted.
As a fan, for sure, but they definitely can't. I want to touch on Warford because you brought it up, Bobby. But listen, him getting 20 and 15.
Vintage Horford, bro. Vintage Horford.
Yeah,
he went full vintage mode.
Thank God for him.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, speak on it.
Yeah, he just went full vintage mode, bro. He makes it so easy for them to where they don't need to think. You know what I mean? That's what he does. Is like he takes all the thinking out of the game for them, and you can see it on the court.
Well, what about him on the fucking perimeter, dude? He's running around in the perimeter like he's 5'10". It's crazy.
So you guys remember what I said to Weiss? I asked him the question. Tatum and Brown need to give you 80% every single game of what Irving and Durant do. And that's exactly what they did in this past game. Listen, every single game, if they averaged about 65 points. If you can get about 55 from Tatum and Brown, you're going to have a chance in every single one of these games. What's going to get the Celtics in trouble is if Tatum or Brown have that off game where Brown gets to 15 and Tatum has like 22. And you know what I mean? Those are the games that worry me about this series. If you can get this every single time, 30 and 20 from Jaylen and Tatum, we're in fucking
I think
business,
Jayson Tatum's at the level.
We're in business.
I think Jayson Tatum, I mean, I don't, knock on wood, but I think Jayson Tatum's at the level now where he goes and gets his 30 points in the playoffs. I think that's...
Agreed.
You could pencil in Jaylen for 20 a night too.
I think so too. I do think so too. And I think that I get your worry, Bobby. I really do. I get your worry because it's like you're relying on two guys that you've seen in playoff situations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think, I think you can... Jayson Tatum for sure is going to go get his 30. And I think if Jaylen Brown isn't getting penciled in, like Ray said, for his 20, he might have 8 assists. You know what I mean? Like he might have a few clutch rebounds. He might have some intangible plays that like gets himself into the game, because I think Jaylen's got a lot smarter about when he's not scoring and he's not like, he's not the hot hand. I think he's got a lot smarter about not forcing it. And I think he's got a lot smarter about, how he gets himself into the game otherwise. And I also think, and this is not talked about enough. Jaylen, the J thing fucks with me every time. Jayson Tatum's defense on Sunday was so good, like so good, and like I did say he got butchered by Kyrie a couple of times, but a point guard running downhill at a 4, you're probably going to get butchered. I did see him kind of keep up with what's his name, Trae Young, in the regular season, which was pretty impressive, but his defense was incredible. And I think that, not only can you pencil him in for 30, I think you can also pencil him in for put him on the rest guy. You know what I mean? And I think that's what you need your best player to be. Like that's what Kobe was. Kobe wanted to guard the best guy, and he was also going to go fucking be in his bag offensively too. So,
but doesn't it remind you of Pierce and LeBron?
Like what you mean, the one-on-ones, the back and forth? The back and forth.
That's really what it was. I remember Pierce used to give. And once again, we'll talk about this.
Big market tease for the rewrap, bro. Love it. Love it. Let's go.
People forget the buckets that Pierce used to give LeBron, because it was like, but like I said, once again, I'll save it. But it's like, people forget, and I'll just leave it at that. But I'm excited to see what Tatum does. I'm excited to see not just on offense, but on defense as well. But
he ain't scared. I'll tell you what, he's not fucking scared.
Wait, but who's LeBron and who's Pierce in that situation? Because Tatum's the young guy coming in.
Pierce is Tatum and LeBron is Durant.
Because of the skill level. Because I think that, I think that, like the on paper skill level. Sure. I think that I'd love it if it was that. I mean, that was my favorite era to watch basketball.
If Tatum's LeBron, I'm okay with it. Just
he's the young buck coming up.
I'm not
he's
upset.
the young buck coming up, right? I don't know if he's LeBron James. Like, let's pump the fucking brakes on that. This is what we do. This is what we do here. That's
the headline to the episode. Jayson Tatum is LeBron James.
No, I do. The back and forth. I think you're definitely right, hitting the money on the head. You're right on the money, hitting the nail on the head. When you're talking about, I haven't seen a back and forth like that at that level in a Celtics playoff game since that. I think that's definitely true. I think that they're very different types of players than those two guys. I think that I think that it's almost more fun because of the types of players that they are, because I think LeBron and Pierce were going back and forth in like that era of basketball's two best guys.
They were two sluggers.
Yeah, they were slugging it out. Yeah. I think what you're watching it with KD and Tatum is like two crafty guys that have everything, and like who's gonna like, it's more like a chess match than a boxing match to me, if that makes sense. I think it was, and I think what Tatum did really well was he used the things that KD didn't expect him to use. I think he went right at KD defensively, which I think was really
that
smart.
baseline fadeaway.
I think it scared the shit out of KD.
I think honestly, that was really smart. Dude, I was literally like that to me in that moment, that baseline fadeaway was absolutely filthy. It reminded me of Kobe. It reminded me of Kobe, but I was like, when he was doing it, I was like, I hate this. I was literally saying that. Like, it was like he was backing KD down.
Like, no.
And I was like, I hate this. Holy shit. And I thought of you guys. I thought of you guys right away of like, holy shit. Like, because when you guys were like, is this the game where we pass the torch? I was like, shut the fuck up. It's still Kevin Durant, bro. But it has nothing to fucking relax, Bobby.
It hasn't. I caught myself. Did you hear myself? But I'll tell you what. Tatum's torch sparked a little bit when he hit that fadeaway.
At a risk of overextending the metaphor, but I think that moment was unbelievable. And I think just to finish my point about the chess match, I think it's about Jayson Tatum not falling back on his ego like he has in the past, which I think is a completely understandable thing when you're a young player as talented as he is, without a real scheme going on around you. I think it's about him accepting, this is going to be really important going forward because I've seen this happen a lot, accepting the fact that Kevin Durant is going to come out within the next 2 games, maybe 3 games, probably 2, and fucking barbecue him. Like, that is going to happen. Like, I'm sorry. I know he played great defense, but Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is undeniable. What our game plan is when that happens and how Jayson Tatum reacts to that, I think is going to say a lot. You know, if he starts getting cooked and he does one of 2 things. He either has the lack of ego to go, all right, somebody else switch on to him, like Jalen, come help me with him. We'll 2-man him. We'll push him to the baseline. We'll do all this stuff. Or, which would be really cool, if he's like, fuck that, leave me on him. Like, I'm making this happen. It's a battle. And then you get the slugfest that you're talking about. And then you get some fucking crazy fireworks happening. And it doesn't really matter what happens at that point if he actually can step his game up to that level, because at that point, the sky's the limit for the kid. But, I'm just saying, it is still Kevin Durant. Let's all keep our fucking dicks in our pants for like a hot second, because like he'll come kill you. He'll come fucking kill you. He is the easy money sniper. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's definitely going to happen at some point. And I think I texted Bobby about this on the side, but I remember on Sunday too, I think it was a play to end the third quarter where, and we could talk about this on the rep too, but I remember there was a play that Pierce had years ago against Al Harrington when he was like just counting down with them. And he's talking to him. He's like, we wanted big fella. He was saying something else, but I'm going to say big fella just to keep us on the air. He said, we wanted big fella. What you wanted? And, he does a step back, which until James Harden came along, Paul Pierce is the best step back I've ever seen. Hits the 3 in his face. Crowd goes crazy.
Not to be wearing a Celtics hat and say this, but Kobe Bryant's step back is pretty fucking good.
Yeah. It's too. But Pierce. Tatum at the end of the third. So I think someone was coming to give a screen. He waves him off. This man, go. He's like, I got him.
I think Paul Pierce ran the best ISO of any Celtic of all time. I think
sure. But Tatum's close. But it's just like
different era, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, just doing that 1-2 dribble that he's mastered and that side step 3. And I was like, you knew it was going in. Like, it wasn't a matter of like, well, it 100%. Might go back for him. Like, you knew it was going in, because when he gets that many dribbles and he gets in that rhythm, like it's a wrap. So yeah, I mean, listen, we're looking forward to more moments, obviously. And before we get into predictions, I want to touch on one more thing about the whole Kyrie thing. So obviously, the reports have been going crazy the last couple of days from him giving the finger to fans, him saying he's going to give the same type of energy. Which I'll start, because I know I've had y'all. I'll start with this. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm not going to sit here and say he's a clown. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's the worst human being on earth today. That's not the case. And I just think, to me, I get where he's coming from, because after a while it gets annoying when you get told, hey, fuck you, you're a pussy, you're a bitch, you're this, you're that. After a while, especially, when you grow up in the inner city too, after a while, there's only so much that's going to be said before you're like, yo, what's up? So the words you saying, come show me why you think I'm that. And then we can go from there. So like you said, you have to be docile. You have to be more professional, so to speak. So I hope that he gives the same energy. I hope the fans keep going at him. Once again, they don't have to say certain things like, different slurs, but hey, keep going at that. Tell him that he sucks. Tell him that he's, to tell him that that LeBron's his daddy. Shit like that. That's fun to me. So hopefully that continues, but just nothing where it's out of pocket. But, BK, what were your thoughts about that?
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more. Listen, there's nothing more healthy and more exciting than sports hate, man. It drives nostalgia. It drives everything, man. You look back at everything that you remember about sports, and the seasons you remember the most are the ones where you had that heated fucking rivalry, where you were playing a team and you legitimately, in between those lines, you hate that person. Because honestly, I can't remember someone that Boston has hated more since A-Rod. In this
we
rivalry.
Fucking hated LeBron, to be fair.
Yeah, but even LeBron, right? So LeBron would drop 40. We would be like, oh, fuck LeBron. He's so good. He's so good. Listen.
Yeah. There was a respect. Yeah.
Right. There's no respect with Kyrie. That's the difference.
That's my problem with the issue, with the situation.
100% a problem. I had this conversation a bunch last night because it's like, listen, everyone's like, listen, we're in his head. We're in his head. We rattled him.
You're not.
I legitimately was like, well, could you please unrattle him? Because whatever you're doing definitely isn't working, okay? When I call him a supervillain, I legitimately mean that because you could see him eating the souls of the Boston Celtics fans, bro. Like, every time they would boo him, every time they would say shit, he would look at him. It was like Reggie Miller with Spike Lee back in the fucking Knicks days, bro.
Spike Lee is responsible for so many Knicks downfalls.
So many, right? But he was legitimately. There was the one section. It was on the right side baseline. I can't describe it.
I know. Well, we all know where you're talking about. Yeah.
There's one section that he was just feeding off of, bro. And every time they would say something to him, he would look at him.
It was like this one old guy. I could see it with the crowd. The guy was having a fucking great time talking shit to Kyrie, so I don't hate it, but
he would hit that three and just give him the finger, and it was just like, bro, you guys need to stop because none of this trying to heckle him is. If anything, we should be sitting in the crowd, fucking standing ovation, Kyrie. Like, Kyrie, welcome back, bro. Welcome. Like,
them people on the floor. As someone who works there, because I've been on the floor. Them fans. And I mean, it's a little different because the playoff game, so it's probably a little more amplified. But yeah, they don't care, and like they pay whatever they pay. They gonna talk. They gonna keep talking.
Yeah,
and
it's not gonna change.
Listen, keep giving it to him, Kyrie. Keep doing it.
Completely agree. It cannot go past. You're a pussy, Kyrie. You're this. You're that. Those are the type of things that are gonna ruin this whole thing. Because right now, it legitimately just is like a supervillain versus a city. That's what it is. There's nothing more to it. It's just and if it gets to that point, though, I'll be so disappointed.
I agree. I agree with you guys on a sort of baseline level. And like, we've had this. We were kind of having this discussion the other day in our little Discord chat or whatever. And I do agree with you that it's not going to change, Ray. And you're pissing in the wind, trying to get like Celtics fans to stop hating Kyrie Irving is like trying to get fucking
never gonna happen.
Water not to be wet, right? So it's fine. But I will just say, since we're here talking about it, I think you guys will understand this because I think you're both a little bit the same way. There's a way that you watch basketball. There's a way that you watch football. There's a way that you watch baseball. The reason why the Celtics fan base is sort of different in their attitude to the New England Patriots fan base is not because they're not the same people, because they are for the most part. It's because the way you watch the game is different. Yeah. And I think the thing that is annoying me slightly, and it's not a big deal, like I'm not going to die on this hill or anything, but the thing that is annoying me slightly, and I hope you guys understand what I'm saying when I say this, because I have been hitting my weed pen, but I think this is a good point. There's sort of like the old head mentality of watching basketball that you give respect to ballers. Like, you give respect to ballers when they're fucking balling out. And I think the thing that annoys me a little bit about how certain Celtics fans are coming at Kyrie is it's like they're coming at it from like a Patriots point of view, you know, like they have this kind of weird thing embedded in their thing. And like, I mean, not being a Patriots fan, like maybe I'm biased, but when you watch real true ballers ball out, you have to be like, all right, like you gotta give him his respect. Like, all right, cool. You can hate him, you can be mad at him, but there's a reason why we were upset too when Kobe Bryant died. You know what I mean? Like there was a reason why the Celtics fan base was also super fucking bummed out. And if you just heard us talk and you didn't know basketball from like 2007 onwards, you wouldn't understand why we were upset. But if you know basketball and you know it like in your heart and in your soul and you love it, you knew why we were upset that he died, you know, because he was a fucking baller. And for all of Kyrie's idiosyncrasies, for me, and this is just the way I watch sports in general, I don't really give a fuck, to be honest with you. It's about what you do on the court. And I understand it's hard to ignore a lot of this shit. And it is. And like, you know, me, I'm fucking Captain fucking liberal. I'm fucking burning bras out in the street. Of course, I think it's stupid that he doesn't want to like get vaccinated or whatever. But I don't care, you know, at the same time, because it's on a purely neutral point of view, which I don't have, because, you know, I love the Celtics and I'm here for the rivalry, and I agree with what you're saying about it. I'm not arguing with what you're saying, and I'm not arguing with what you're saying, Ray, about how it's not going to change. But I love seeing somebody ball out. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just love it. I just love it. And I just think the attitude of hating on Kyrie Irving just on the merit of being Kyrie Irving is ignoring a very important, if not the most important thing about Kyrie Irving, and that is that he is one of the best basketball players you've ever watched in your life. So that's all I'm saying. I hope you guys get what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily
listen. I'm about to back you up on this, because I saw something Joe Murray tweeted from Sports Hub up in Boston, where he was saying someone was giving him shit for saying Kyrie is a Hall of Famer, and it was like, listen, guys, if your hate honestly clouds your basketball knowledge enough to know that you're not watching a fucking Hall of Fame basketball player, then you're so clouded in the Boston sports.
You're kind of putting the cart before the horse, as far as like you kind of look like you don't know what you're talking about if you're talking shit about Kyrie Irving. You know what I mean? A little bit, but I get it at the same time.
If Mitch Richmond is a fucking Hall of Famer, Kyrie Irving is a Hall of Famer, bro.
That's not fair.
No. You never listen. No. Let me.
Bobby just skids off the road.
No, listen. If you
podcast, don't have me go down that rabbit hole.
But I'm just saying, bro. Like,
we only have an hour, Bobby.
I'm just saying, if a guy that was never the best player on any team he was ever on is a Hall of Famer, then Kyrie Irving's a fucking Hall of Famer, and you know it when you're watching it. That's the thing, is exactly what you're saying. Like, you gotta respect the baller when you see it, man. And Kyrie Irving is a straight baller. Listen, that's the only reason he can do this shit. If Kyrie Irving was Pat Bev, listen, Pat Bev can't be flipping the bird to people, but Kyrie can, because he can drop 39 while he's doing it.
Yeah, you know? He's more of a baller. It's like, for doing it in that environment.
Exactly.
Bro.
I know,
like, I respect blasphemous for
listen, I respect Kyrie so much more after that game. And
I've been saying this about him though. Like he hit the most clutch shot of the last 10 years in the fucking finals, dude. Like I'm just saying.
Maybe ever.
Yeah, maybe ever, dude.
He had the defensive player of the year on him, on his hip, all game long. And he scored 39 points. And did it with an entire crowd telling him he needs to go fuck himself. Get the fuck out. You have to respect that. You have to. You have to. Right, you have to. It's
crazy.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
All right, yeah. Supervillain.
Yeah, we'll talk off air about that Mitch Richmond thing, but
you need a supervillain if you're a superhero. You need him.
For sure.
Right. You need it. It's great to have it, and I can't wait to watch game 2. Can't wait.
For sure, but I want to, before we make our predictions, right, and get out of here. So obviously KG's retirement game was a few weeks ago. Isaiah Thomas, who played in Detroit, was there, and this speaks to the point that we just made right now. He got a little bit of cheer coming out the tunnel because he was right by the tunnel that I was guarding. So a couple of people was like, "Yeah, oh hey Isaiah." But as soon as they were like saying who was there, And I think people realized that he was actually in the crowd. And it was like, yeah, I think Mike Gordon was like, yeah, shout out to, Isaiah Thomas for being here. And collectively 19,000 booed Isaiah Thomas. Now, mind you, this is a newer fan base, but there were still a lot of older people that were there.
Wait, our boy Isaiah?
No.
Oh, the other Isaiah.
No.
I missed that part.
Senior.
Senior. Yeah, okay.
I mean, he played, mind you, played 30, 35, 36 years ago, and mind you, we beat Detroit a few times. It wasn't like Detroit always beat us, but because that rivalry back and forth, because of the Isaiah Thomas comments about Bird, Rodman's comments about Bird, like, they vehemently booed Isaiah Thomas. So
people don't forget.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show it does not matter. It does not matter the era. It does not matter the player. Maybe we just have something against number 11. Who knows? Because
that's a good point.
Okay. So I'm gonna make this point. I'm gonna make this point twice tonight. Okay, because it leads right into it. Listen, this is not something new for Celtics fans. Listen, Celtics fans pick someone and decide they hate him for that. Listen, it was Mike Bibby when he called us fucking Fairweather fans. It was Jason Kidd when he was an asshole for doing what he did. It was
Dennis Schroeder.
Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder. It was Kelly Oubre.
Okay, that worked out.
It was, bro, you go down the line, and this is what we do. We pick someone, we fucking hate you for an entire series, and it's not going to go away. I'm sorry. And until we beat them, I think if we beat Kyrie, I think we'll be over it. And I think it's kind of like a girlfriend scorned.
I'm just saying it only makes us stronger.
Yeah, but I think if we beat them, right? So we beat Kyrie, I think we're over that because that's what Boston does. As soon as we beat you or we win, we're like, yeah, whatever.
We're fucking petty, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Beat you first.
Great. I'm
gotta get a hotter girlfriend. Our girlfriend's got to be hotter.
Jayson Tatum's hotter.
So, DK, let's get into predictions for game 2. So, who do you got in game 2 and why?
I got a weird feeling they're not going to come out of the tunnel. The Nets aren't going to come out of the tunnel the right way. I really got a weird feeling it's going to happen. I don't want to jinx it. I'm really scared of the jinx and like all power to the jinx. Like, it's the only thing. It's the only high power I believe in. But I think it's something about like getting beat like that. Like something about getting beat like that in that environment, having to go back to the Garden. Kyrie suffering that abuse, but still getting hot. And then like, can you get up for that again? Like, can anyone get up for that again? If they come out and they compete with us or they beat us in game 2, it's going to be Kevin Durant. It's not going to be Kyrie Irving, in my opinion. I think Kyrie, obviously he'll contribute. Like, I'm not saying he's going to have a bad game or anything. I think, like I just got done saying he's a baller, but I think KD needs to step up, obviously. And I think that it's a matter of how quiet we can keep him, because I think we did a good job of that in game 1, and how quiet we keep the supporting cast if he is going off, which is like obviously a truism in basketball, but I think it's definitely true in game 2. But I got this weird feeling they're not gonna get off their stool, and I think we might blow them out. To be honest with you, I think there was moments where we could have blown them out in game 1, and they hung around, and that's really hard to do twice in a row in a place like the Garden. And I think there's a chance we come out hot, we stay hot. I really do. I'm not saying that's going to carry through to going back to Brooklyn, but I like our chances in game 2. I really do.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't mean to be that guy, but I think
you're always that guy.
I am that guy, and especially with the Celtics. And when it comes to, first, back up and not be that guy for a second. The biggest thing that you need to watch in this game is Daniel Tice. I think if they can fix whatever was happening with Daniel Tice defensively in game 1, because he cost them a lot, and I think he's the reason Kyrie got hot. They need to make sure he's not fading off the ball a lot, because he cost them at least 10 to 12 points in that second quarter. He was really rough defensively in that game. I think we dominate this game, man. If they fix that Daniel Tice problem, I don't know what they do. I don't know if they rotate him out, if they just play Horford more, whatever the case is.
Well, Horford was running around. Like, that's the weird thing, is like Horford did play a lot of minutes. Yeah. And he was on the floor at the same time as Tice a lot.
Listen, Tice was supposed to be the solution to the Robert Williams being out.
Well, he just had a bad game. He had a below average game. Might not necessarily be true. Might not necessarily be true in the next game, and we might scheme a little bit to help him out. I think he was on his own underneath the basket a lot, which is not helpful.
You got to scheme better to Tyson in this game, and if they do that, I truly agree with you, DK. It's gonna be something that we win wire to wire.
Ray,
I got Brooklyn winning game 2. I wasn't. I
what? They're taking a home game after that? What? Blasphemy!
No way.
I mean, once again, I want to. I think that once again,
God, he's right.
I think the series to go
Yeah,
7
he might
anyway.
be right.
So I mean, for it to go 7, somebody has
Take
to
a game
win on home
apiece.
court.
A game apiece.
So yeah, so I just think that you're going to see a virtuoso performance from KD.
That's what I'm scared of too, man.
And well, not even scared, but that's just what it is.
It's inevitable. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's going to happen. So, and I think that Kyrie maybe takes a step back from what he had in game 1, obviously.
Facilitates a little.
But
bit
I just think that it'll come down to the wire again, and the shots that they missed in game 1, they'll make in game 2. Now, on the other hand, the Celtics can't miss all these layups that they made. Because truth be told, I know DK, that was the point you were making about how
conversions. Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why it was close like that. Like they were missing layups that that Tatum play doesn't even happen.
I feel like
we've been guilty of that for a long time. We've sucked at layups for forever.
It's
6
ridiculous.
layups in 90 seconds. 6 layups in 90 seconds. That is a legit thing that happened.
Right. So it was fitting that because they missed so many layups that the game ended on a layup when they made it. So that it was fitting in that regard. But I think that Brooklyn squeezes it out.
I like that, right?
Game,
I like that
for game 2, and then we'll see what happens in games 3 and 4. But yeah, I expect a mess of a performance from Kevin Durant. So
wait, we won't be back until after game 4. So I want to know from you guys: are we gonna be up in this series when we come back on this show? You don't have to give me a prediction more than that. Just, are we going to be winning?
You think after game 4? I think
it'll be tied 2-2.
I think it's going to be 3-1.
No,
3-1
we're coming back
Celtics.
after game 3, right? So it'll be.
Well, ask the question then, Bobby. Which is it game 3 or
game 3?
4?
Game 3. So game 3, we're going to be winning this series. So someone has to be winning the series at game 3.
Yeah. So Celtics be up 2-1.
Yeah, we'll puke the game up in Brooklyn, or we'll let them steal one at home. But I think if we let them steal one at home, we maybe go win in Brooklyn, if that makes sense.
No. All right. Well, let's say you heard it here. So you heard it here first, baby. So some of us got to win, some of them got to lose it, but it is what it is. So for DK Sizzler, Real BK Bob Kelly, I'm Rashawn Buchanan, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Introducing the Deep Leadership Podcast. Leadership is a people business. That's the philosophy of your podcast host, John Rennie. As a former submarine officer who spent 22 years leading businesses in corporate America before starting his own manufacturing business, he knows that leadership matters. Deep Leadership is real-world, actionable leadership advice from John and his expert guests. Become a leader worth following. Subscribe today.
Electricast. Welcome to the Reverie channel, where entertainment knows no bounds. Live concerts, on-demand music, documentaries, and short films, all in stunning HD. Now on Roku TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Immerse yourself from home. And on Android and iOS for those on the move. Support creators with crowdfunding donations. Fuel their creativity. Join us in shaping entertainment's future. The Reverie channel, where every view, every donation matters. Electricast.